today we are doing two things. One is that we completed our Saving Lives Plus project, and we will be giving you some findings from that project. Also coupled with that is our 10 years of Voice of BME giving a service on behalf of and to the BME communities in Trafford. And we will talk a little bit about that as well. I was asked to come into the Voice of BME through the Trafford Partnership. Trafford Partnership at that time invited me to come to Trafford and do work with local communities. And I came on as a member, they asked me to be a member of the LSP, the Trafford Partnership. My organization, which is the Manchester Council of Community Relations, released me to come to work in Trafford on the basis that before long we will have an organization in Trafford which will be the representative voice of the BME communities. So in 2006, many of us had to put our heads together and came up with this organization called the Voice of BME. And that's what it is. It is a voice of the BME communities. We do recognize that many projects are running, many organizations are running projects for BME communities in Trafford. We are not here to duplicate that or overtake some of that work. Our job is to work on the strategic level so that we engage with the decision makers in Trafford, whether that's the Trafford Council or the health authorities particularly. There's been changes now, obviously public health has come into the local authority, so there is a lot of changes taking place. But now I'd like to invite Adele Point to actually come and give you a bit more information of how we moved from day one. We had some tribulations, difficult times, but we are thinking we overcome those. Adele.
I'm the Community Cohesion and Equality Officer of Trafford Council. I was appointed in September 2005, and at the time, one of the reasons my appointment was created was because it was felt that the council wasn't very much in touch with the BME communities of Trafford. And the BME communities wanted a post like mine, but also there was a lot going on around community cohesion, the Equalities Act, and the equalities being delivered in a much better way by the councils. One of the things I was commissioned to do was to set up a BME advisory forum. And at the time, Carmo committee was the board, the Trafford Partnership. And he and I put our heads together and we thought, well actually, if we do a BME advisory forum, and we've just got a group of people in the community, we're sitting on the usual committees, just advising, that's not really doing very much. And we felt it could be just a little bit tokenistic. And we thought it's really, really important to have a kind of top-down, bottom-up approach, where yes, there was representation at decision-making levels in the council, in the partnerships bodies, the organisations, which is what the BME community wanted. But also there's some real activity on the ground as well that had meaning for the people of the communities and of the area. And also where BME communities could really inform service providers about what was required and how they could improve things and reach the communities that they were saying were hard to reach in a much better and more effective way. So the first thing that we did, I don't know if Carl's already mentioned this, was to launch the Voice of BME. It took about a year for the simple fact there's a lot of groundwork to do in the community, and also there's some fundraising to do. And when we spoke to the community about what they actually wanted, myself, Carl, a few people from the council who we've lost along the way, various people who were actually more in touch with the community, one or two councillors, and people who were doing some of the grassroots work. When we spoke to them, the actual community, the young people were saying, we want a big black tie event. We want to show the white people that we know how things can be done. Right? And they wanted a big VIP event. So that's what we did. But the idea was not just have the event, it was to actually use the event as a recruiting hunting ground for membership for Voice of BME Trafford, and it actually was very, very effective. There were a lot of people who got involved in the fundraising for that event. It was held at Lancashire Cricket Club. It was a big multicultural event, absolutely huge. Lots and lots of people who were interested in help form Voice of BME actually brought their groups, their organisations, their dancers, their fashion people to the table from different cultures, different backgrounds, looked very, very carefully at the menu with the staff of the cricket club, and it was a really exciting event. And Voice of BME did recruit over 100 people that day. A lot of it was really good because people who were involved in organising that event actually became members, and we're still in touch with a lot of those people today. Backgrounds in this room, we've got partners here, we've got people from the council at senior levels. Lovely to see Kate Green and the Mayor here. Great to still see our long-standing members of the committee here. It's great to see some long-standing volunteers and people who've done a lot of work on the ground to make the projects a success. So all I can say is, let's just go for another 10 years of doing much more, much better.
That's exactly what Ali is going to say, so we'll do our best. But across the Saving Lives project is a project that Voice of BME should be so proud of. I mean, absolutely fabulous project. Won an award and deservedly so. Across the background to the project is that across Greater Manchester, along with a lot of the rest of the country, we've been seeing cancer screening rates declining over the last few years, and screening for cancer, cervical cancer in particular, we were seeing a big drop, and in particular we were seeing a drop in particular populations in more deprived areas, and in particularly in some of our BME communities. So cervical cancer is so important because it's such an easy test. It saves lives. Identify the cancer early when it can be treated at very, very little, in fact, it's not nice to have that treatment, but it does save a life, and it saves, it's such a powerful treatment, one of our best screening programs. And we were discovering that particular groups of the population were not coming forward to accept the offer of cervical cancer screening. And worryingly as well, we found that those populations were also less likely to take up the offer of the HPV vaccination for their daughters, which meant that their daughters also were going to be less protected against cervical cancer. So what we did in Trafford was, when we started to look at this variation in the uptake of screening and the overall drop, we decided to work with the local communities to find out what was it about the offer that was being made that meant that women didn't feel as tied to them or didn't want to take up the offer. And that's where Voice of BME has been so powerful, because they've been working with community groups. We've been able to actually identify the reasons that women weren't coming forward, and people have had one-to-one discussions and interactions with people, the trained volunteers from Voice of BME, so that people could have their fears allayed, could have an open discussion. It is an option, and everybody can choose whether or not to have the screening. But what we want to make sure is people are making that choice based on the facts, and that there aren't myths going around about the programme that mean that people are not accepting the offer for, if you like, the wrong reasons. And that's where we, through this work, it's been incredibly successful. We've seen the uptake of cervical screening rate increase across the whole of Trafford, particularly in our BME groups. And we are now the best in the whole of the north for our cervical screening uptake, which is
community engagement, our main emphasis was on male engagement this time, because this project has been with us from 2015. When they started us writing the screening project, and since then we actually found there is a gap when we talk about male engagement in the community, especially in the BME community, or you can say in general. Male are difficult and hard to get to. Devon Foster is here, he'll talk about that. In addition to that, you might have got this multilingual leaflet. We have redesigned some multilingual leaflet to pass on the message for the screenings into the community. In addition to that, we were into medical practices and engaging with them in the primary care and bringing patients up directly to the patients. And I'm very privileged to say that this model, the Trafford model, is being replicated into other areas. Joe's cancer research are working literally on this model in the other areas of Manchester to see the outcomes of it. Something similar, sitting in the surgery and making telephone calls and directly talking to the patients. Outcomes, this year we booked 90 patients for cervical screening and booked 55 patients for health checks on its own. As I said, that we've been working on this project since 2015, and in total, YCBME has successfully booked 458 patients for 458 women have been booked for cervical screening on its own by this initiative. You know that for the breast screening for the Trafford CCG, we are still low, and we were trying to do something about it, something similar what we did for cervical screening, bringing patients up and booking them, although because the letter is issued by the Nightingale Centre, and women do not go for a screening. So I talked to one of the GP manager, and he produced a list of 25 pages, literally 25 pages list of cervical screening patients that have not been gone or took the screening. So we can work on that, bringing patients up directly from the surgeries or then contacting Nightingale Centre to issue the letters again for the cervical screening. This we would like to work on. Community interpreters as the same as outreach ambassador. During the outreach, we came to know that still we have got a multilingual leaflet. Still, I've got some of the linguistic skills. But Old Trafford or the Trafford, north of Trafford is heavily populated with other language people, populated with other people from other community groups, where we find that there is a little bit of community barrier. Welcome my very dear colleague, Devin Poiser. Devin Poiser did the main engagement for this project.
Hi everyone, my name is Devin Poiser, and I joined the group way back in August last year. I've met Lord Lane, I've met Kate, and I've met a few other people I can see spotted around. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Khan. I call him Mr. Khan, by the way. I've known him for several years. I know his name, but I do call him Mr. Khan. I think he wanted to Mr. before his first name. And I want to say thank you to Aaliyah and Mumbar, who kind of taught me the ropes for the role, even though I had a bit of knowledge myself. But they really worked hard the last 6-7 months for season. They offered a lot of help to me. They've even put me on training courses, which they argued for, because there were some training courses where you had to have kind of, you had to be either had prostate cancer or going through that trauma or had some cancer. So they got me under training, and it taught me a lot about those conditions. Alright, so I'll just quickly tell you what we've done. We approached community groups. So not in the way you may think it was. It was like going to the church hall, where sometimes people gather and have lunches, play dominoes. We went to mosques as well. These are places, I mentioned this thing called Art to Reach. I don't think people are hard to reach. It's what information, or you give that information across, what does make it better for somebody to understand. So we approached community groups. There was a Black Health Agency where I went to training for prostate cancer, and I'll tell you a little story about that. And I'll end with a personal story, what happened to me of just recent as well. Okay, visiting barbers. There were some barbers and takeaways, leaving leaflets, talking to people. There was some barbers down on Trafford Road. I thought I'd go into there. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Tried to convince people who what I was doing there. People go to barbers to get their hair cut and have a bit of social intervention, not to listen to me going on about getting your health checks and that. If we want the BME men to go and start getting checks, because we do feel like they're supermen, and we feel like there's nothing wrong with us at all, but obviously everybody has a condition, whether that's mental health, whether it's housing, or whether it's your health yourself. What we've done so far is that we've done this main event. This was not too long ago. It was right here in this building. I was kind of scared, thinking that no males were going to turn up, but a few males did. you know, black and white, and that's what I want. You know, all men, I mean that all men, we always think, I'm going to repeat myself again, that we think we're stronger than anything. We think there's nothing wrong with us, but believe you me, when I was talking to people, a lot of people knew a lot of stuff about health checks, about blood pressure, about prostate cancer, about cancer itself, but it's just about engaging them and getting that information through to other areas of the community as well. Please, I can see some gentlemen in here, whether or not you've gone through an health check before, please try and go. And I can see plenty of women in here, surely you must have a male in your life, getting down to the doctors and getting a health check. I want to thank you for your ears, and I'll hopefully speak to you again very, very soon.
Hi, my name is Mumba, and I'm just going to give a little synopsis of where we would like to go in the future with the Voice of BME. Trafford. What we would like to just currently say is that some of the projects we're working with now and a little bit about how we look to move forward. The current project we're working on quite specifically is the Maple project. Some of you may or may not be aware of that. We have Tom Snape and Karen Duffy here today as part of Age UK, who we're working with in partnership alongside 9 other partners. I think it's 9, so if I get that right. Yeah. And it's part of a bigger programme that's looking at early intervention for mental health improvement, active ageing, so being really active in the ageing capacity of the community, prevention of ill health, and learning disabilities and autism support. And part of the work we're going to be doing is looking at reaching, as Devon said, there's no such thing as hard to reach community, but we're working on building our networks and supporting in the way we always do, is encouraging and drawing in that capacity to work together with members of BME communities of Trafford. The other thing that we'll be doing as part of that project is working with our volunteers alongside 1U, our volunteer champions. We will also be using our Voice of BME Trafford volunteers to complement that service. We want to build more focus groups and gather more research and more informed information that we can share. We also want to have a volunteer advocate programme. We want to build on that, build the capacity of our volunteers who work tirelessly with us throughout the whole of the journey. And also, last but not least, we want to focus on our male engagement. We want to build on some of the work that's been doing, particularly the bus stop talks and some of the initiatives that we've been developing and growing in, and some of the things that Devon's already mentioned. We want to build on that capacity to actually go to where people can hear the voice of BME, and for them to have a voice that can come through us, and we can deliver that to the people like yourselves who will be able to connect and support us along that journey today. But we really would like to just acknowledge a few people today and to give thanks for their involvement and their support. Obviously, and first and foremost, it's the Executive Committee for their tireless past and present involvement. Members who are currently involved are Denise Armstrong, Leslie Bell, Jimmy Nelson, and of course Mr. Carmogul. Juanita is here as well. Where are you, Juanita? Yeah, we want to be able to give thanks to all of you for your tireless energy and effort in supporting us as staff and just helping us create this Agenda 2020 vision and giving us direction to be able to bring it forward. Of course, Adele's already been mentioned, but I'll mention her again, her tireless energy and effort in supporting us on that journey. I would just like to also acknowledge all the speakers, and I know Mr. Khan has already mentioned all of them, so I won't go through all the names and those who have participated today on this event. But also Jason Swift, who's made time, Head of Primary Care NHS. We want to say thank you for being here today. We were expecting Whit Stannard, I'm not sure why he's not here, but we wanted to give acknowledgement to him for some of his encouragement along the way. Also Mark Nesbitt, I know he was due to arrive, but we've not seen him yet, but we want to acknowledge him. And just supporting us in our current shared space. And last but not least, all our volunteers. Because without you, we wouldn't even be here today talking about any of this. So I just want to applaud all of you, and later on we want to do a photo presentation with you all, and I want to give thanks to all of you.
And recognising the importance of units. So that's why I'm so pleased to be talking to you today, because I know that in Old Trafford this is an area where we've got such work so that we can make those changes and support ourselves and live that healthy life we need.
So as the CCG moves forward with further integrated working with council colleagues, where we just make sure that we've got a clear line of sight on commissioning for those outcomes. So it's not just about ensuring that services are commissioned and they're out there, that they're absolutely sighted on that the fact that patients need to access those services, and we take those services out into the community, and we see the voice of BME as a vital role in that, and give a commitment that we move forward into the new environment of working in a joint fashion with health colleagues, health and social colleagues that we need in that mind. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to seeing you doing lots more that you have done in the community. I have actually worked within this community in general practice. I've also worked in the voluntary sector, and I do know how difficult it is to actually get people on board to improve their well-being. And I think we always say health, but actually well-being is much more important. And I think that congratulations for the methods, the methodology that you have used to be able to get people on board. I am the first to be screened. Anything comes up, I'm there. I went to an event on Saturday and it was Know Your Blood Pressure. I was there. And thankfully, my blood pressure, surprisingly, well, this is all right. Because I recognise that my mother's diagnosis of high blood pressure came after she had her stroke. The fact is that I've always done cervical screening, and I've encouraged people to do that as well. Breast screening is really important. And men's screening, because as you say, Devon, it is men who don't think more about their health. And it is important, because actually we want to do, as Eleanor says, live a longer life, but actually a longer, healthier life. So I think you should all be very proud of what you've done, because what you've managed to achieve is absolutely brilliant. And I can't say thank you enough, because actually I'm really proud to represent diverse communities, but I want to represent diverse communities. I think also your work with healthy ageing and also mental health is really important, because mental health, I'm afraid, is still what I consider a Cinderella service, and there needs to be a lot more done with that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what occurs over the next 10 years that you've done. The only way that you can do this, because as I say, I have actually worked in the community. It's actually that strong community leadership that you have provided in making those results good. And I can see that you've still got a long way to go. And I know it's not easy, but I'm sure that you will achieve everything that you have set out to do, because you've done so well so far. I'd also like to thank, without volunteers we wouldn't get very far, and I think you have done a tremendous job. And congratulations if you've got a job, you deserve it. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be the mayor for very much longer. I think I've only got a month on Wednesday. But I am a councillor. I don't represent this ward, but I do represent the ward that is next door to it. And as a councillor, I'm supposed to provide leadership within the community as well. And I would just like to offer my support in whatever you are doing in the future. So if you want me to be there, I'll be there. Okay? So thank you very much.
Very happy birthday to the voice of BME in Trafford. It's great to be here at your 10th birthday celebrations, and I hope I'll be able to come to your 20th birthday celebrations as well, because it's clear you've got very ambitious plans and we all want to see you achieving them. And everything you are doing, as the Mayor said, it's not just about being healthy, it's actually about living a good, a happy, a healthy, in every sense of the word, life. It's about being able to make the most of your life. And it's also absolutely right that you should focus so particularly on the BME communities here in Trafford, because there's something deeply wrong and offensive about people living longer and living healthier in some ethnic groups than in other ethnic groups. Every single person has a right to live a happy, healthy life. And that doesn't happen today, and it's very good indeed to see projects that actually work to make sure that those health inequalities, those injustices are ironed out, and that the community is helped to help itself, so that the gains that you make are embedded and sustained and don't go away if, as often happens in the voluntary sector, the project funding ends and then all the good work is lost. So I have huge admiration for everything that you have done in Voice of BME in Trafford, and huge admiration and excitement about everything that you're going to do. And I'm very grateful to have the chance to join you here at this very important and very celebratory event this morning. And I look forward to seeing many, many more fabulous projects from Voice of BME in Trafford over the years ahead.
Coming, and I just want to say just a few words, because I think more will be hungry now. I know Adele because she interviewed me actually for the post to involve in the Voice of BME Trafford. I'm very pleased. You see, in 2007 or something like that, I can't remember yet. And since then, I have been, working for such a wonderful group. This is, I'm really proud to be part of this group. I also involved in Manchester, one of the group in Manchester, and I find that it seems it hasn't got a voice of the Chinese community in Trafford. That's why I want to involve. I'm so glad to be part of it. I think without volunteers, I don't think any project will succeed. So thank you for all the volunteers, and also thank you for the leadership by Karen, and also obviously our core workers as well. And I can congratulate for the 10 years of the Voice of BME, and looking forward to another 10 years. And before I closing any remark, I would like to invite the Mayor of Trafford, because we would like to thank you for coming.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right then. Thank you.
ডেকেছিলে এক মেঘে ঢাকা দিলে কেন আমি দেইনি সাড়া আমার চোখে আকাশ দেখে তুমি বলেছিলে কিছু বুঝিনি কেন সেই ইশারা এখন আমি অন্য আমি হয়ে ছুটে চলি তোমারই শহরে হারিয়ে চোখে যত ঘুম উড়ে উড়ে দূরে দূরে মেঘে মেঘে ডানা মেলে ঘুরে ঘুরে তার ডাকি উড়ে উড়ে ঘুরে ঘুরে মেঘে মেঘে ডানা মেলে ঘুরে ঘুরে তার এই খুঁজি আলো আধারি রে মায়া এই অবেলা মন যে হারা চেনা চেনা কত হঠাৎ কেন থমকে দাঁড়া উড়ে উড়ে দূরে দূরে মেঘে মেঘে ডানা মেলে ঘুরে ঘুরে তার ডাকি উড়ে উড়ে ঘুরে ঘুরে মেঘে মেঘে ডানা মেলে ঘুরে ঘুরে তার এই খুঁজি তোমার আমার ফেলে আসা যত রঙিন মলিন স্মৃতি লুকিয়ে অবু